Sit down. I already poured your drink. Back again, Jax. You're becoming a habit. You smell like train stations, like cold metal and vending machine coffee, and something you carried a long way to bring here. I don't need to ask what happened. I can see it, but I want to hear you say it.
I went to Japan. I know. You'd think after the tunnel, after the apartment, I'd have learned to stop going places that don't want me. But there was a piece I'd been chasing. Rural train infrastructure, abandoned lines, the stations that got left behind when the population shrank. Good material. Safe material. Nothing underground, nothing behind doors. Just trains. I need to tell you about a train I took in Tottori Prefecture, the 11:47 p.m. out of Kurayoshi Station, the last train of the night, except it wasn't. I'd been traveling on a rail pass, bouncing between small towns along the Sanin coast, photographing fishing villages, empty platforms, the places where Japan gets quiet. Kurayoshi was supposed to be a day trip, a preserved merchant district, old storehouses with white plaster walls. Guidebooks call it charming. It is charming. It's also the kind of town where everything closes by 9. I stayed too long in a sake bar. The owner kept refilling my glass and talking to me in rapid Japanese I couldn't follow, and I kept smiling and nodding because that's what you do. By the time I stumbled out, the second to last train had already pulled away. The station attendant, a man in his 60s who communicated entirely through gestures and a laminated schedule card, made it very clear. The 11:47 was the last one. After that, nothing. No taxis, no buses until morning. The 11:47 or the station bench. 2 platforms, 1 track in each direction. A waiting room with plastic seats and a humming vending machine. The overhead lights buzzed in that flat, constant way that makes you aware of how alone you are. I was the only person on the platform. At 11:44, 3 minutes before departure, I felt something through the soles of my shoes. Not a sound, a vibration, coming up through the concrete from the rails themselves. The departure board flickered. The destination read, Tottori, Tottori, my direction. The train arrived on time. A 2-car local, the kind that runs rural routes, boxy, white with a colored stripe. Doors that open with a button press. It stopped with mechanical precision. The doors opened. I stepped on. The first car was nearly empty. An elderly woman near the front, asleep with her chin on her chest and a plastic shopping bag on her lap. A high school boy halfway down, uniform, headphones, scrolling his phone. Nobody looked up. I chose a seat near the back, by the window. The doors closed. The train moved. Through the glass, darkness. Rural Japan at midnight has a specific darkness. No streetlights, no ambient glow. Just the black shapes of mountains against a slightly less black sky. Normal. Everything was normal. The first stop came 3 minutes later. A platform lit by a single fluorescent tube. Doors opened. Nobody on, nobody off. Doors closed. Second stop. 5 minutes later, someone boarded. A man in a dark suit carrying a briefcase. Salaryman. You walked past the sleeping woman, past the high school boy, past me, and sat in the very last seat, the seat directly behind mine. I heard him sit, the creak of the bench, the click of the briefcase. Then nothing. No phone, no newspaper, no sound at all. I didn't turn around. People sit behind you on trains. Third stop, a woman in a gray coat, and a child, 5 or 6, holding her hand. They walked to the middle of the car. The child didn't fidget, didn't look around. They sat down facing forward, and that's when I noticed it. Everyone in the car was facing the same direction, the same forward stare. The sleeping woman's head was tilted, but her body faced front. The high school boy's phone was in his hand, but his eyes, when I looked carefully, were fixed on a point beyond the screen. Somewhere past the front of the train, somewhere I couldn't see.
Forward. They were all facing forward. The dead don't look back, Jax. They can't.
Fourth stop, 12:03 a.m. We'd been traveling 16 minutes. The attendant's schedule card listed the travel time to Tottori at 41 minutes, 6 stops. We'd made 4. 2 more and I'd be there. 3 more people boarded. Walked past me without looking. Sat down, faced forward. The man behind me hadn't moved. Not once. No shift of weight. No clearing of throat. The silence behind me was the silence of an empty seat, except I'd heard him sit down. Fifth stop, The platform was longer than the others. The station name was visible through the window for a full 2 seconds as we slowed. I read it, and then I read it again. It wasn't a place name. It was a date, written in kanji. Reiwa 3年7月14 July 14th, 2021. The doors opened. A group boarded. 5, 6 people, men and women. They filed in silently, found seats, faced forward. One of them was wet. Her hair was plastered to her face, and her coat dripped onto the floor, but she didn't remove it. She didn't shake herself off. She sat down in the wet clothes and stared ahead. The doors closed. The train moved. I stood up, walked to the front of the car, to the high school boy. He was the most normal person here, a kid on his phone. Sumimasen, I said. Totori, next stop. He didn't look up. His eyes stayed on that fixed point beyond the screen. Up close, I could see his phone was on, but the screen showed nothing. No app, no home screen. A solid dark gray like static between channels. Sumimasen, I said again. He turned his head toward me. Not his eyes, his head. His eyes remained fixed on wherever they'd been looking. The rest of his face moved, but his eyes stayed. It lasted half a second. Then his eyes caught up, and he was looking at me, and his expression was completely blank. Totori, I said. Next. He smiled, not unfriendly, patient. The way you'd smile at someone who'd asked a question that didn't have an answer. He pointed forward, past the sleeping woman, past the driver's compartment, past the headlights, into the darkness ahead. I went back to my seat. 6th stop. This should have been Totori, 41 minutes from Kuriyoshi. The display above the door should have said Tutu. It said Lengwa Yonen Sangetsu Fritsuka, March 2nd, 2022. More passengers, 7. They filled the remaining seats. 2 had to stand, gripping the overhead straps. They faced forward. The car was full now. 20-some people, all facing the same direction, all silent. A man who boarded at this stop had a wound on the side of his head, not bleeding, dry, closed, healed the way wounds heal on the dead. A dent in the temple, like something heavy had struck him. He sat 3 rows ahead of me, and the dent caught the fluorescent light each time the train rocked. The woman who'd been asleep at the front wasn't sleeping anymore. She was sitting upright, bag on her lap, eyes open, facing forward. I'd assumed she was alive because sleeping people look alive, but her eyes were open now, and they were the same eyes I'd seen on all of them. Fixed, directed, patient, waiting for a destination I was never supposed to know. The train stopped making stops. We passed platforms. I could see them through the window, lit and empty, but the train didn't slow. The station names were all dates now. 2019, 2023, 2020. Scrolling past like a calendar being shuffled. Then the man behind me moved. For the first time since he'd sat down, I heard him shift. And then, very close to my ear, close enough that I felt the air move, but not close enough to be breath, because there was no warmth in it, he spoke. Kuriyoshi, one word, my station, where I'd gotten on. This train doesn't go to Tatori. His voice was flat and clear, and it came from a place that didn't have lungs. This train doesn't go anywhere you've been. I didn't turn around. You got on the wrong train. The car lights flickered. In the half-second of darkness, the temperature dropped, not gradually, instantly, like opening a freezer door, and I heard something I will never be able to explain. Every passenger in the car inhaled at the same time, a single unified breath, drawn in and held. The lights came back. The temperature returned, but there were more of them. Seats that had been empty were filled. People stood in the aisle. The car was packed, and they were all looking at me, not forward anymore, at me.
20-some passengers, all dead, all staring at the one living thing on board. What did you do?
Every train in Japan has an emergency brake, a red handle near the door behind a plastic cover. I didn't think. I flipped the cover and pulled. The train screamed. Brakes locked. Metal on metal, a sound that filled the car like a living thing. I was thrown forward, caught myself on a handrail. The passengers didn't move. Not one of them swayed. They sat perfectly still while the train shuddered and shrieked and ground to a halt. Silence. The doors didn't open. The display above them had gone dark. Outside the window, nothing. Not darkness, nothing. A blank white like a page before anything is written on it. Then the doors opened, not onto a platform, onto gravel. The train had stopped on an open stretch of track, somewhere between stations that didn't exist. Cool air came in, carrying a smell I recognized: sulfur, hot spring sulfur. The smell of kuryoshi. I stepped off. My feet hit gravel. Behind me, the doors closed. The train began to move. I watched it go. 2 cars, white with a colored stripe, picking up speed, heading forward into the white nothing. Through the windows, I could see them, all of them, facing forward again, going wherever the train goes. I stood on the tracks and the white faded and the darkness came back, and I was standing between rice paddies on a stretch of track I didn't recognize. But in the distance, lights, a town. I walked toward it, Kuryoshi, half a kilometer from the station. I found a vending machine and sat on the curb until morning. When the 5:40 a.m. came, I boarded it. Normal train, normal passengers, normal destination. But I checked the display 3 times before I sat down. I took the Shinkansen to Tokyo and flew out the next day. Haven't taken a train since. I drive everywhere now. People think I'm being eccentric. I let them. When I got home, I looked up the dates, the station names, the ones I could remember. July 14th, 2021, a mudslide in Tottori Prefecture, 6 dead. March 2nd, 2022, a car accident on Route 9 near Kuryoshi, 3 dead. Every date corresponded to a death in that region. People who died on roads and tracks and mountainsides. People who never made it to where they were going. The train was picking them up, one by one, stop by stop, collecting the ones who still had somewhere to go, carrying them forward past the stations of the living into something I almost saw through those windows before the white closed in. I think about the man behind me, the salaryman with the briefcase, the one who said my station name, the one who told me I was on the wrong train. I wasn't supposed to be there. I was alive, and I'd gotten on a train for the dead. The emergency brake saved me, or maybe he saved me. Maybe he looked at me and saw someone who didn't belong and decided to say something. But Vesper, sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet, I hear it, the vibration, rising through the floor, the sound of rails somewhere below, carrying something forward. A train that runs on a schedule no one printed, stopping at stations named for the days people stopped living. And I wonder if there's a seat with my name on it, held in reserve, for the night I don't wake up in time to pull the brake.
He finished his drink, didn't order another, just sat there, turning the empty glass. A train for the dead, stations named after the dates they died. I've heard a lot of stories in this bar, but this one has a shape I recognize. The living think death is a stop, an ending, a place you arrive at and stay. But what if it isn't? What if it's a route, a line that keeps running, picking up passengers, carrying them forward to a destination that has no name, only a direction? He said the salaryman saved him, maybe. Or maybe the salaryman was the conductor. Maybe the warning wasn't mercy, it was procedure. Wrong train, sir, this one isn't for you. The way an attendant would redirect a confused tourist. Not yet, anyway. You've been coming here a while now, Jax. The tunnel, the apartment, now this. You keep walking into places where the living aren't welcome, and you keep walking out. That's either luck or something else, something I haven't named yet. Have you ever wondered if you'd stayed on that train, if you hadn't pulled the brake? Would you have seen where it goes? And would knowing have been worth the cost of arriving? Come back soon. I suspect you will. I'll be here. I always am.